Now, as we come to our study of Galatians again and come to it trying to understand it on its own terms for interpretation and for our own benefit, to know the Lord better and to commune with Him, we come back down to Galatians 1:1 and to the words there we see, Paul, an apostle. We can stop here. What does it mean to be an apostle? Now, oftentimes, people will stop here and they will go down and they will look if there's any good notes underneath. In a good study Bible, they will have references here. And there, in fact, there is one here. There is a whole paragraph that explains what an apostle is. Or rather, what one of the editors, or maybe multiple of the editors, have written upon apostleship. I would encourage you not to do this. However, these are very helpful. I'm not saying that these are bad. They are also, however, not inspired. These are fallible men who have written. It is very much better to come from Scripture to understand Scripture, for Scripture is infallible. Therefore, I'd encourage you to go at the back of many Bibles. There are concordances. Concordances are helpful for many different reasons. A concordance is oftentimes, especially in the back of individual Bibles, the most pertinent places that a word, an English word, is used. So if we go to apostle in the back here, it'll show us the most important uses of the word apostle. And there are often other words there that are close. Here we have apostle, apostles, apostleship. All three of these are denoted. However, there are only 6 different places that apostle is noted. So these are only the most important uses of apostle. You would go to these, and then you would learn more about what it means to be an apostle. This would be the best use of your time. However, there are bad things about English concordances. It really is only showing us the English words that are in our English Bibles. We must remember that, at least in the New Testament, these are Greek words. And if we are doing a word that is common between the Old and the New Testament, they are Greek and Hebrew words that are translated into English. So it is always better to try to go to what the word is in Greek or what it is in Hebrew. And you can often do this by searching, in this case, Galatians 1:1 interlinear. And then you will find the Greek words in front of you with their English equivalents, and you can click on them, and it will show you where those words have been, or where they are, rather, in the New Testament, in this case, or the Old Testament, if we were using the Old Testament. And just that word, apostolon. And in my case, I would use a Greek or lexicon concordance. This is what is often called BDAG, but it will show you all the different uses of the word and where it's coming from. This is very helpful because then you can go to all these different places and understand from Scripture what an apostle is. This is very helpful because being an apostle is a very, very controversial thing. Many people today will say that they are apostles. Many people will say that the criteria for being an apostle is this or that. Or that we are all apostles, or whatever else it might be. But do the work. Do the work. What does Scripture say? Scripture is not something that is only for this person or that person. It is for every Christian to read. We are to be good Bereans, and we are to go and to see whether these things are true. And how are we to do that? Go to what Scripture says of itself. Go and see what God says, for He is infallible in what He says. So I would encourage you. This is also where you can use your margins for word studies. Margins oftentimes will show you where the use of this word is. And then after this, you can go to, if you go to that place where the margin says, say, go to Romans 1:1, where he also says apostle. There will be many other places where in that margin, it'll show you where apostle is used. So you can go to many different places and find in those margins more places where apostle is used. And then after all that work, then is the work of synthesis. What does apostle mean? And I encourage you to do this study on your own. And then say, in humility, Lord, teach me.